everyone, welcome to Itsy Bitsy's live read from Into Pieces by Nicole Banks. Chapter 1, Jasmine. There was something so intoxicating about having a man at mercy, specifically your man. I had Angel's wrist tied tightly to his bedpost. He was sprawled out naked, just the way I liked him. It gave me enough time to sit back and admire his magnificent body. My eyes could never get enough of him. Angel was gorgeous. The nipple piercings and dragon tattoo, which ended just above his penis, only added to his raw sex appeal. He looked good enough to devour, and I planned to do just that. His body tensed every time I ran my palms across his exposed skin. Angel's long penis twitched every time I ran my tongue across my lips, like it was begging for my attention. A wicked smile spread across my face. Soon I'd taste him again. I would make him wild and lose that tight leash he had on his control. I loved the way his green eyes watched my every move. They turned a glossy green color when he was aroused. They darkened the more turned on he became. The heat that shone in his eyes was enough to turn me into a puddle at his feet. Judging by his cocky grin, he knew exactly what he was doing to me, and he enjoyed it. You know, love, I love the way those beautiful brown eyes of yours go darker with your need to have me. He smirked. You keep looking at me like that, and I'm going to come. I blushed. We can't have that now, can we? He licked his lips. How about you come here so I can taste just how sweet you are? His eyes traveled from my face, slowly going over every inch of my body. He couldn't physically touch me, but I felt his caress touching every single inch of me. When his eyes finally made their way back to my face, he whispered, I can't seem to get enough of you. Angel. Now, Jasmine. The authoritative tone in his voice made me jump at his request. How could he be tied up and still have control? I mentally shook my head. I knew better. Angel at his core was a predator. He'd always be one, even when he was at a disadvantage. This was supposed to be about me pleasing you, Angel. I was supposed to be the one in control. He flashed that heart-stopping grin of his. You always are in control, Jasmine. Don't you ever forget that. I am the one always begging to touch and taste you. Nothing would make me happier than to be buried between those luscious legs of yours. I want to lick and taste every inch of you. Let me taste how wet you are for me, my love. I contemplated his request. I loved the way his lips and tongue felt against me. It was a pleasure like I've never experienced. But I knew the second I let him use his mouth on me, I would be gone, mindless to the pleasure, lost to whatever he wanted. Again, Angel, this is supposed to be about you. You can't tell me you'd rather eat me out than have me suck you off. Can you do that later? You can do that later, promise, he winked. I'm always hungry for you, love. I can spend a lifetime in between those long legs of yours, whether it's my dick or my tongue. And right now, I want to bury my tongue deep inside you so I can consume every single drop of cum I make you spill. As if on cue, my body responded to his words. I felt a surge of liquid rush straight to my core. My clit throbbed painfully, demanding to be touched, tasted, and pleasured. Come here, Jasmine. His voice was husky with desire, and my body instantly moved toward him. I couldn't fight the pull any more than he could. I straddled his face. He quickly turned and bit the inside of my thigh. Hey, stop that! Angel chuckled. Then hurry up and take a seat. I've been dying to make you scream with my mouth. I lowered myself slowly, letting the anticipation build. Jasmine. Angel growled in a low warning tone. I knew he wanted me to plop down and ride his tongue until I came, but I wanted to hold on to whatever control I thought I had, just for a bit longer. I was barely an inch away from his mouth. I heard Angel take a deep inhale and felt him nuzzle my core. He let out a muffled sigh as he inhaled again. Now that he was dragging this out, I wanted him to taste me already. I didn't have the patience to wait. I called his name, but it turned into a moan as his tongue made a small swipe in between my folds. We both groaned. Angel started licking and burying his tongue deep inside me. He found his rhythm. It was that masterful rhythm that drove me insane with pleasure. I could hear his deep murmur of approval. I began to rock my hips into him, meeting him halfway. The pressure started to build again. It shocked me how, no matter how many times I came, Angel had the ability to build me up again and again. If we both kept this pace, I'll explode from the inside out and come quickly. I tried to pull back a little. I selfishly didn't want this to end. I wanted to drag this winding tension out a little longer. The reward for it I knew would be exquisite. Angel growled. He bit firmly into my thigh again. A small moan escaped my lips, surprising me. I didn't expect the pain his bite caused to bring another wave of pleasure flowing through me. I was hot all over. I felt like my senses were expanding. The sound of the headboard hitting the wall as I rocked my hips into Angel was deafening. Each swipe of Angel's tongue felt like 1,000 volts of energy shocking me to my core and bringing me closer to my orgasm. Angel continued to torment with his face buried between my legs. Why did I tie him up again? I wanted his hands on me. I needed to feel him touching me while I came. I rocked into his torturous tongue harder. Just one more stroke. Angel, please, I desperately pleaded. He growled, and I faintly heard wood snap. In one swift movement, I was on my back, and Angel was buried deep inside me, causing an explosion of pure ecstasy. I cried out as I clung tightly to him, riding out wave after wave. As soon as my orgasm started to dwindle, Angel began to thrust into me, causing new ripples of pleasure to explode throughout my body. He was dragging this out. It felt too good. I was suddenly overcome with an emotion I didn't have to dwell on, as I fought to keep any tears from spilling. Being in his arms felt right, like I was always meant to be there. I couldn't let anything ruin this. Angel. Jasmine had quickly become my own personal heaven and hell. Or maybe she always had been. I never looked close enough before. All I knew was this felt right. It was addicting in the best possible way. I had no problem being strung out on her brand of drug. The greedy walls of Jasmine's warm, slick heat continued to milk my cock, trying to coax my own orgasm out. I was right on the edge and was holding on by a thread. Jazz fit like a glove. She was made specifically for my dick. The second I slid inside her, my orgasm snuck up on me and threatened to rock me out. I tried to hold back. I wasn't quite done with her yet. I had this deep-seated need to make her come countless of times before I even got my nut. It was awe-inspiring to watch Jasmine come unhinged. When I finally had some type of control, I began thrusting into her. Jazz's eyes rolled to the back of her head, and she started murmuring incoherent words. A snug smile crossed my face. I did this to her. I made her feel enough to lose control. I gave Jazz her greatest pleasure. Jazz blindly grabbed my face and pulled me toward her lips. I would never deny her anything. Whatever she wanted, I would give to her. I groaned the instant our lips connected. I felt it again, like an electric shock to my system. I was drowning in her. Every time I touched and tasted her, I was sinking even more, and I had no intentions of being saved. Angel, I'm close. Come with me, please. I need to feel you this time, she murmured. She didn't want to have to tell me twice. I picked up my pace, getting lost in the little sound she made in the back of her throat. She was getting close. I grabbed a fistful of her hair. Look at me, Jasmine. I heard the growl in my own voice. I was inhuman, an animal, when I took her like this. The caveman wanted nothing more than to mark her and claim her. I want you to see what it is you do to me. Her brown eyes, heavily with arousal, were locked on mine. Come for me, Jasmine. Come for me so I can come for you. I swallowed her moan in a brutal kiss as I felt her shatter in my arms. My orgasm came right behind hers. It damn near knocked the wind out of me. The sex was always better than the last. I could only pray we wouldn't destroy whatever this was between us. I collapsed, falling to my side so I wouldn't crush her with my weight. Though, judging by the way Jazz was just laying there, limp and fully sated, I didn't think she would have minded my weight too much. I smiled before pulling Jasmine close to me. She murmured something and snuggled right into the crook of my arm. I sighed. For the first time in a long time I was content. There truly was something peaceful about having her here like this. I was glad to see she hadn't fully pulled away from me yet. I feared whatever progress we made over the last couple of weeks had completely slipped away the day that we had made love for the first time. I found her huddled in the corner of her kitchen, pale and shaken. Some situations require you to act first, question later. Going by the state I found Jasmine in, the questions were pounding in my brain were forced to take a back seat. I carried her back to bed. Her body curled right into mine as a sob whacked her entire frame. I cursed under my breath as I laid her in my own bed. I hesitated. At first, I wasn't sure what to do. Jazz cried again, and my body went to her on its own accord. But the second I got close to her, she torpedoed out screaming like somebody was hurting her. Whatever high I was riding for my orgasm was gone. I felt like shit. I thought I was the reason for her meltdown. I was sure I hurt her. I didn't touch her. I didn't want to spook her any more than I already did. I just continued to call out her name, hoping something would register. When it finally did, Jazz quickly apologized and threw me out. I wanted to stay and push, but I knew that would only make things worse. So I tucked tail and left. If she needed some time to sort shit out, fine. Who was I to push? I let her be for a couple of days, and when she was ready to come to me and tell me how to fix it, so I wouldn't hurt her again. But when she finally came back around, it was as if nothing happened. She begged me to let it go, and I promised I wouldn't do anything wrong. I can hear her mind going a mile a minute. It's disrupting. I can hear your mind going a mile a minute. It's disrupting my sleep, Jasmine mused. I made lazy circles across her back, and I felt her shiver as she pulled herself closer to me. I smiled. We came a long way in such a short time. I'm sorry for disrupting your beauty rest, my love. She giggled. What are you thinking about, anyway, Angel? If you're ever going to tell me what happened in your kitchen that night after we made love. Jasmine. For all of Angel's faults, being persistent was his worst one. He could never let anything go. I knew he was worried and was probably racking his brain about what had caused my freak out. I knew he thought he hurt me in some way when we made love. I told him 1,000,000 times it wasn't him or anything he did. He was perfect, just like I knew he'd be. The damn package Marcus sent had paralyzed me. Any happiness I felt in Angel's arms was destroyed the second I opened that box. My one moment of happiness was ripped away. I finally felt safe enough to let it go, and somehow Marcus had found his way back into my life, ruining everything. Once the initial fear and panic subsided, it was replaced with blinding anger and hatred. I was pissed. The one thing I was promised, the one guarantee I had, managed to show up in my house, waving a bright red flag in my face. Thank you for listening to this part.